Goodmo are the online expert when it comes to spare parts. And the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a large generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog. And the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today. Check out the app. It's available both for iOS as well as Android devices. And also check out the website for the latest schemes as well as offers. Well, so I'm now in the cabin of the Kodiaq, and I have to say that this is an exceptional place to be in for the sheer levels of quality, the overall fit and finish, and the overall feel of the cabin. It really does feel like a special place to be in. Definitely ahead of the Toyota Fortuner, which is its main rival in terms of the fit and finish, and just that feel-good factor, that luxury factor, the overall swag factor that this car has to offer. Now, in terms of the safety kit, let me just read it out for you because it is a long list. First of all, you get 9 airbags, which is something which a lot of buyers will appreciate, tire pressure monitors, ABS with EBD, this huge sunroof, panoramic sunroof. It's not part of the safety kit, but I just thought I'll mention it because it just gives you that luxury feel. You also get electronic differential locks because this is a 4x4 setup, cornering lamps, 360-degree camera. You also get hill descent control, hands-free park assist, and of course hill hold assist. But that's not all. You also get wireless charging for my phone. Apart from that, you get this huge touchscreen which can connect to your iPhone as well as Android devices wirelessly. You also get dual zone climate control, cruise control, automatic headlamps, different modes to choose for the driving setup and also for the snow mode, sport mode, etc. Electric handbrake, and also you get a button over here for the off-roading mode. ESP also can be turned off. As I just said, huge list of features, dual zone climate control as I mentioned, and just the whole ambience of the cabin is very special. It just feels like a nice and positive place to be in. One special mention has to be made about the digital gauges because you can change the look and feel of them. You can just have the rev counter, or you can have the rev as well as speedometer, and also you can listen to the stereo system here. It's the best in the business, and again ahead of its main rival, the Toyota Fortuner, because the Canton setup has very good dynamic range and just feels like a nice and place to be because the setup and the overall cabin ambience is good. In terms of storage, huge armrest over here where you can keep a lot of stuff, and you also get big bottle holders in the doors. But that's not all. Even the glove box over here is quite good, one on top and the other at the bottom. Overall, 10 out of 10 to the Skoda Kodiaq's interiors. Now let's jump in the back seat and the second row and then the third row and check out how they are. So now I'm in the second row of the seats of the Skoda Kodiaq. In terms of the space, it's quite decent, and headroom also is quite generous. My height is 5'10", and I always adjust the front seat for my height in driving position. So if your shop is about 5'10", 5'11", you should have no issues whatsoever. You also get these nice blinds over here, and the doors are also nice and wide, so the aperture to get in and out of is quite easy. But before you say, well, what about the last row of seats? Let me tell you that you can always move this seat back if you want more space. And now see how much amount of space I have. Huge amount of leg room is available for me if somebody is not at the back. If somebody is there at the back, then you can always adjust this seat and bring it forward and tell the person to stretch his legs quite well. Now, one more trick here is that I can always change my backrest angle as well. I can move it up by quite a bit, and I can take it all the way back like I was sitting. So in terms of the overall flexibility and in terms of the overall practicality, the second row of seats is quite good, and I'll give Skoda a strong score of 9 out of 10. Now let's see how good the last row is. And before I forget, there is a bit of a transmission tunnel as well, but that's quite okay because it's not a huge one. It's quite adjustable because whoever's sitting here can easily accommodate his feet around it. Let's jump in the last row. Well, so here I'm now in the last row of the Kodiaq seats, and I have to say that in terms of overall practicality, these seats are left best for kids. If you're about 7-8 years old, you'll be quite okay in these seats. The seat base is very small, and as you can see, my knees are really up over here, very close to my ears. So it's not very comfortable for a full-size adult. Yes, it is a 7-seater, and in terms of the space, it is quite decent because this row has been moved all the way up, as I just showed you. So in terms of the space, it's quite okay, it's decent, but yes, ideal for people who are about 5'5", 5'4", less than that. Someone about 5'7", 5'8", or maybe taller will struggle for long distance journeys. So if you're going on a long distance journey, planning a long distance journey, it's ideal that you keep rotating after every 1 hour who's sitting here because this does feel a little cramped. Anyways, now let's see how big the boot is with the rows up and with the rows down. Well, so let's quickly talk about the boot of this car. Now, in terms of the space, as you can see with the rows up, even then it is quite impressive and definitely ahead of the Fortuner, because the Fortuner really doesn't have any space when the rows are up. But this one has decent space, and you can easily load a couple of big bags over here and maybe even a small one. If you want more space, you want to travel in this car as a 6-seater, you can drop both the seats individually and you get lots more space. Drop this one down as well and you get a huge cargo area. Very, very impressive. Also, what's impressive is that it's completely flat, so you can easily haul those big bags and haul them out without any fuss. And the parcel itself has been stored away over here. You can easily store it away and you can always bring it out. So that's something which is very good, because in case you're running on full capacity on the boot and you have no place to keep the parcel itself, you can always store it away over here under the floor. That's a very impressive thing and very smart engineering from Skoda. Double thumbs up to the boot of this car, 10 out of 10. Also, what's important is the fact that it is a powered tailgate, because this is, at the end of the day, an expensive car. Well, so here I'm driving this Skoda Kodiaq. Now remember, this car comes only in a petrol engine format. Now the earlier diesel engine is no longer available, so what you do get is a 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine, which makes about 190 bhp and about 320 Nm of torque. And these are pretty decent figures, considering that it also gets a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, automatic gearbox of course, and Skoda Group calls it the DSG gearbox. And I have to say that this DSG gearbox along with this engine really does work very well on this big and massive car, because it is a big and bulky SUV. But you'll never be found wanting for power when you drive this car. What you really like is the overall refinement levels, the inherent silent nature of the engine. And when you're in the cabin of this car, you just feel so well cocooned and so well protected from everything else out there, because there's absolutely no noises entering the cabin. There's no wind noise, there's absolutely no tire noise, and even the engine noise is not there, because it's a very, very quiet motor. Even when you're punching it hard and you want some great power out of it, this engine remains largely quiet and will never trouble you. So that's something which is quite good. It's a very good car for long distance journeys, because the suspension really does soak in the bumps very well. It's a very good suspension in that sense. It just soaks in all the bumps, all the potholes, and nothing is ever troubling you. And because the body is so very well bolted together, there's no rattle as well. That's something which a lot of customers will appreciate, because there's no rattle from the doors, no rattle from the parcel itself at the back, and really that's something a lot of buyers will appreciate. As I said, when you take it out on the highway or even when driving in the city, it seems as if this car is riding on a cloud, because the suspension just soaks in the bumps. This might be a big and bulky SUV, but it rides like a luxury limousine. Yes, the ride comfort is so good that you feel like you're riding inside a big luxury car, which is twice or thrice the price. And it justifies the fact that this is a luxury car, because it does ultimately feel that way when you're driving it on the road. Now, in terms of the feedback from the steering wheel, it's a decent steering wheel in terms of the feedback and communication. It's a big SUV, so there is going to be a lot of body roll. It is overtly light. That's something that you can't, negate. So you have to be sometimes, a little careful. Light steering wheels, though, are good for people who drive a lot in the city themselves or who don't use a chauffeur. But yes, if you are someone who's a keen driver who always says that I want to take it out on the racetrack, or maybe if you are someone who always says that yes, I want to take it out on the hills and punch it around, then this steering wheel you'll have to be a little slow, because as I said, it's overtly light and sometimes you'll want a little more weight in it. But that's something that I'm just nitpicking at the moment. It is quite okay for day-to-day travel and day-to-day use, and average car buyers who drive their cars from point A to point B will have absolutely no reason to complain about the steering wheel input and the feedback that it has to offer. How is the performance? Well, the gearbox is really slick. You never notice the gears change when you're driving it in automatic mode. And if you drive it in the manual mode, you can always shift the pedals or use the pedals here and shift the gears. And the gear shifts are really quick, really fast. And this car does feel very quick in terms of the overall acceleration as well. Especially, as I said, when you consider that this is ultimately a big and bulky SUV. So in that sense, Skoda engineers have done a good job with the overall packaging of the engine, gearbox, as well as the ride comfort. It is quite good. Overall, if you want a safe, secure, feature-loaded car which comes with 7 seats and also offers you good road presence, then the Skoda Kodiaq is a car you should definitely keep in your shortlist. Not only is it good to drive, it's also very comfortable and it offers you a very good sound system as well, along with a lot of features which will make you definitely feel luxurious as well as opulent when you travel with your entire family. Overall, a nice experience in this car. I'll give it a strong score of 90 out of 100, and as I just said, keep it in your shortlist if you're considering buying a 40 lakh rupee premium SUV.